Hey, this is Glenn Livingston, and I am here with one of my favorite people in the world, David Oliver. How are you, David?
I'm doing great, Glenn. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited about our talk today because we're talking about coaching and how you can really make a difference while you're making a living and making a nice living at that. And you're one of the most successful coaches that I know. And so I thought rather than me just pontificating about all the great things about coaching as a real business opportunity these days, I thought I'd get you on to hear it from the horse's mouth and kind of talk a little bit about your experience. And that's why I thought I'd have you on. So maybe you could just quantify your success as a coach and give us a little bit of your background first.
Yeah, no problem, yeah. I myself was coached when I was very, very young. I was coached in football. That was very, very impactful in my life. Amazing coaches, really laid some tremendous foundation for me for all the way up until, my current age right now. And getting into high school, I had more great coaches. In football, I was very, very lucky. Fantastic people. Football is not just about learning, blocking, and tackling. There's other things like coaching on goal setting, striving to be the best, and they really beat that into your head and how to do that. And consequently, a ton of the people on the teams that I played with are superstars in all these different fields. So not in any one field. We have top landscapers, electricians, a person who plays instruments, and insurance people, myself. So I really learned the value of coaching. The other thing, in high school, I had some very, very good teachers who really coached me on certain subjects like math and stuff, and they just did an amazing job. So as I started to move forward, I started to remember, wow, coaches make a huge difference. When I got out of school, I was coached on actually how to do network marketing, and then I was also coached on how to do internet marketing. So I was very fortunate that I learned from two fantastic coaches on how to do these things, and I wound up doing very, very well. So then I wound up, in turn, teaching people how to build a network marketing business. That went great. I coached a lot of the people over many, many years. I made fantastic money. I helped people. And then fast forward in the mid-2000s, my mom was found out to have bipolar disorder, or I found out my mom had bipolar disorder because she actually was diagnosed many, many years prior, and she got really ill. Make a long story short, I took a year off, learned everything I could about helping a loved one with bipolar disorder, what it would take, how to help somebody get better, what you needed to do, and my mom turned her situation around in about 9 months. She started doing great. I started volunteering at places, and a lot of people would come up to me and say, look, how were you able to turn your mom around? What did you do? And, what doctor did you go to? And did she go to a doctor? And blah, blah, blah. And I started coaching people where I volunteered. And people were getting tremendous results. I wrote a little book on it.
Book in the library or book in like an ebook?
Ebook.
Got it.
Microsoft Word document, not well edited, with points. And what I did was, before people could look and get the ebook, ultimately they could opt in for free information. So people would opt in or sign up for free information. I'd send little emails on different things I learned, and I had my phone number. And people were calling and I'd say, hey, your book's great, but can I work with you one-on-one? Can I pay you to work with me?
Wow.
And to make a long story short, I ultimately started coaching some of these people, and they started doing really, really well. And I was stunned by the fact that so many of the people were way off in outer space of what they were doing. And then I was stunned that nobody was telling them what I was telling them. And then I was stunned that you actually could make money doing this. And I was stunned the impact it made on people. I was not a psychiatrist, not a social worker. I have no degree in any of this. I have no medical training or anything. And I was stunned on that people didn't need help with understanding medications or any of that type of stuff, because there's stuff on the internet. They needed to know, well, how do you find a doctor? A big part of my coaching was, how do you find a doctor? How do you interview the doctor, the psychiatrist, for your loved one?
And they were probably really happy to find someone who wasn't a doctor, right? They were probably happy that you weren't.
They totally were. You know what part of my coaching was? Was coaching you and literally selling you on why doctors are the devil, why your loved one needs a doctor. That's a lot of my training. I spent a lot of time convincing people that, yes, you might have had 1 or 2, 3 bad doctors, but, Mrs. Jones, there are other good doctors. You need to find the right ones. We need to give them the right information. They aren't the devil. I'd say a third of the people I talk to, they really believe that these psychiatrists are evil, literally evil.
You solved a specific, very important problem in your life. You had a specific experience. We're not going out and telling everybody to go coach others in mental health. What we're telling this story for is to illustrate that there is a very specific, important problem that you solved with passion in your life, and you decided that you wanted to share it, and then you realized that a lot of other people needed not just a bunch of words, but they really needed to have personal guidance. Then that became a real business for you. I don't mean to make you quote numbers you don't want to quote, but could you give people just a sense of what's actually possible when you do something like this?
It's infinite. I mean, I've made over 6 figures. I mean, way over 6 figures.
Got it.
You know,
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to overly hype people, but I've done really, really well financially. I know lots of other coaches as well who have made a lot of money. And I want to step back, because sometimes when I tell people this, lots of people can do coaching, and they have a lot of, well, I don't want to do this, I'm not sure about that, I don't have a degree. You don't need any of that kind of stuff. And the other thing, too, so it didn't just stop in mental health. I mean, I've done a lot of work there. I've done a lot of work with coaching people on home businesses and building businesses online. The other thing I coach, and it was kind of an accident, I don't think you really know this either, but, like, I've helped a few dozen individuals, people who are really, really overweight, lose weight.
It's kind of another area of your life where you've done some like non-competitive bodybuilding, and another problem that you solved. And when you kind of got the coaching bug and you understood that problems that you solve can be things you got other people to solve, you figured out how to turn that into coaching stream also.
And let me say something about that part, too, because this really came from being in network marketing, because we had weight loss products, and I would run into people who were very, very overweight, and they just didn't think they could do it. And I can tell you right now, there are millions of people, 99% of people who are really big and overweight. They don't want to be screamed at, but I'm going to tell you right now, that type of methodology is not going to be impactful. I'm coaching my dad on losing weight. I've coached this other person. My literal training for him was, the first month, I want you to walk 10 yards 3 times a week. That's it. Not screaming at him, not yelling at him, not riding on his back, and it doesn't work. And then, like, my dieting, it's like slow modification, not this extreme stuff. And tell you right now, if you're listening, that's a great market to go into, because there are barely any coaches that I know of that will help extremely overweight people, like, actually create a slow weight loss program and not freak out on them and make them feel like an idiot. I don't know anybody other than me.
Right. Everybody thinks the way you have to do it is what you see in The Biggest Loser.
Yeah, it doesn't work. I don't care Julie, whatever her name is, I'll debate her anytime, any day, and that's not going to work. That will not make a dent in society. You've got to get somebody, first you got to build up their confidence. Like, this is what I do with my dad. The key thing that people should know, there's a lot of coaching available in all niches of very simple things, not complex things, because people think, well, people want a coach that know a million advanced things in whatever, a million advanced things in chess, a million advanced things in golf, a million advanced things in horse riding, a million advanced things in training a dog. And I believe there is tremendous opportunity for coaching of the basics in every niche.
Very, very interesting. Because anybody who really wants to accomplish something and wants to learn something, they have to start somewhere, and they'd really rather talk to a loving uncle or have a friend or someone kind of put their arm around them and say, look, this is what you got to do. It's this simple. And they don't want to have to read all these books and watch all these videos on the internet and do all this other stuff. They just want like very personal, simple guidance. I've got like 84 more things to tell you about why coaching is so cool. But before I do that, should we talk a little bit about other opportunities that people need to compare this to if they're thinking about starting their own business or making a career change? I want to kind of talk about if you're going to start a franchise or you're going to go buy a business. David, what do you think?
I've done a lot of businesses. I've had a grass cutting business, a landscaping business, a contracting business. I've sold knives door to door. I've done telesales, network marketing, internet marketing, a DJ business, a whole bunch of things. So I have a lot of frame of reference. I have friends that have started franchises, built huge companies, photography business, a lot of different things. So here's what I have to say. At the highest level, if you're listening, you have to get in your own business or you're doomed. You really are. Most people are not going to make it in a regular job. They're either making a lot of money in their regular job and they hate it and they could be laid off and then they have a problem. So even all these Wall Street people that live around where I live, over the last 10 years, people were making millions. What happened was they had high lifestyles, and then they got downsized, and now they can't get jobs. They don't know what to do. The trading that they used to do is now outsourced or automated through computers, so they're in trouble. And then on the flip side, I know lots of people who are making $32,000, $55,000 a year, $62,000, and when they run all the numbers, they're barely getting by or they're negative. So everybody's got to get into a business. They just do. There's no debate about that. Anybody who's going to debate that is in outer space. They're living on a
because
different
otherwise you're at the mercy of the market, at the mercy of your boss, and it's like having someone else be in control of your life. You're not the master of your own fate.
It's even worse than that. I know a lot of people, they're in jobs they love. They love their boss. Their boss loves their boss. And everybody loves everybody. But guess what? The mechanism doesn't pay enough.
Right.
So I know people who love teaching. They love it to death. They love the principal. They love the vice principal. They love the board. I know tons of these people, and they're getting paid $42,000 a year.
Which is a travesty.
With a 42-minute commute, one
Right.
way. They can't make it. It's mathematically impossible. Now you start asking yourself, well, what am I going to do? There's no debate. If you're listening to this and you're saying to yourself, oh, Dave, I don't agree with that. You're out of your mind. You're out of your mind for saying that. You're insane. You literally probably should go to a therapist and have your head examined. I'm just being brutally honest. People who don't understand this concept are going to be in trouble.
Yeah, it's true.
Because most people, now I'm not saying everybody should go into coaching. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying that people have to get into their own business to make the numbers work. That's really what it comes down to. Because you can be happy in a job. I know lots of people are happy in a job, but they're unhappy with how much money they're getting paid. And the sad part is, I know tons of people in jobs, and their bosses say they're underpaid. Their bosses are underpaid. Their bosses' bosses are underpaid. Everybody's sitting in a room and saying, wow, we're underpaid. And a lot of these companies are saying, like, we know you're underpaid, but here, look at our books. We're not making any money. Us, the owners, we're really sorry. I don't even think it's people being mean or jerks. In a lot of these industries, the numbers are working against people, especially if you're here in developed nations, which everybody probably should be in Western culture. Even in Asia, like, all these companies are getting squeezed. So everybody knows that. So we're not even going to talk about it anymore because we know that's the case. So the question becomes, what are you going to do? So there's different options. Some of the options are network marketing. Some of the options are franchise. Some of the options are kind of create your own business. Some of the options are ultimately things like internet businesses, Amazon.com, Kindle sales, that type of thing. And I'm here to tell you that we can go through some of them. They've got some serious challenges, and they require a lot of cost. Look at network marketing. I think network marketing is great. I've done network marketing. I've made a ton of money. It is very difficult. They don't tell you it's going to cost a lot of money because it does. And it takes a long time, and it's hard to make it work. That doesn't mean it can't work. I know people making millions a year in network marketing. If for individuals that can do it and, you know, have $5,000 or $10,000, closer to $10,000, they're just not going to tell you that, and many, many years of making work and can put up with the frustration of trying to recruit people and be really a salesperson, that's great. But for a lot of people, the overwhelming majority of them, it's not going to work.
I was going to go to internet marketing actually because I've done a lot of teaching and I've had a lot of success there, but I have to tell you that it's a much, much, much steeper learning curve than it's made out to be. Everybody's got this dream that you're going to set up these electronic systems and the bits are going to be flying around the internet and flowing into your bank account, and it just really doesn't work like that. Most people think the internet is actually a business, that it's going to just make money for you on autopilot, but really the internet is something that supercharges the value you bring to the market already, and it takes most people really $100,000 or so to figure that out, and a few years of pain and suffering. And not that there aren't some people who get it sooner, but really it's much, much, much harder than it's made out to be. And I'm an internet marketer, and I teach people internet marketing, and I'll tell you that. Ever since the internet came onto the scene, there's been this flood of marketers who really want to hide behind their computer and let the computer do the work for them. Whereas in coaching, you're catering to a natural backlash against that because, you know, having the computer do the work for you is great when you're the business person, but it's not so great when you're the consumer and you really want some personal contact to help you out with the problem. Think about how frustrated people get with voicemail. Think about the last time you're trying to search for the answer to a problem, you had to search for like 5 to 10 different things, and then you just barely got to what you wanted to, and it was kind of confusing when you got to the website. people don't really like that. They don't like to search, they like to solve, and they really much rather have a human relationship to solve things. And so it's in so many ways easier to sell them coaching than it is to sell electronic communications over the internet with robots. I think there's that comparison too. You were talking about franchises, David?
And I'm going to reiterate with the internet marketing. Actually, if I were to rank things, I'd say network marketing is far better than internet marketing because internet marketing requires a ton of money to get going. A ton. Like you said, 100,000, right?
Yeah, I say on average, people that I've seen scale the learning curve haven't done it until they spend $100,000. I think that's
true. Don't be bashful because that's the number I would say, and I know we all in the internet marketing space, we don't like to say it because it's a lot of money, and it's literally the truth. That's a tough one. And then franchising, I think franchising is great. I know a guy, he's made several million with a franchise. And he made like $600,000 or $700,000 the first 2 years, like something like net. I mean, a lot of money. But he had to put in $750,000 out of his own money, mortgage everything, put it all on the line, and also borrow like $2.2 million. But he made a lot of money, you know. And if you know a franchise that you really like, and you've researched it, and you've checked it out, and it's kind of your passion, and you have a lot of money you could put down, and you're willing to go to 20, 30, 40 different banks, probably franchise is the way to go.
Right.
I really think so. I wouldn't have told my friend not to do his franchise. The guy's doing really well, but most people, they don't have $750,000 or $500,000 or $300,000 or $250,000. He could have lost it all.
Don't you have to apply to join a franchise, and like sometimes there's a waiting period? I've never actually investigated that myself.
Yeah, there's waiting periods. Like he had to buy like areas and pay like $20,000 or $15,000 a year to like hold these areas as he was getting the financing and getting it all together. So he actually spent more than that money just kind of waiting and getting it all together. So the ones that might cost you $100,000 ones or $200,000 or $300,000 ones, you know what the crazy thing is? The more you put in on the front end, so the more it costs to get going, the more you can make a lot of money, which makes logical sense.
Right.
If you want to make a lot of money, you might have to put in $1, $2, $3 million on the front end, and then that thing could make $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year. But if you want to put in 100, 150, 200, 300, that thing might only make 40 or 50 grand a year.
Interesting.
Now you've got a job.
Right.
A job that's a big pain.
You might as well be working for someone else.
And the way you make money with those types is you have multiple ones.
Right.
And that's a great idea. I actually know somebody who owns a pizza one. They own like 3 or 4 of them. They make, maybe $250. You know, they got a little manager running the whole thing, and then each one's got its own manager. And it's kind of on cruise control, but they put in, I think it was like $1.5 million or $1.2 million, and it took many years to get this thing going to make $250,000 a year, which is a lot of money, but people have to think, you put in $1.5 million or $1.2 million to make $250,000. That's like kind of the ratio.
Right.
Then you can look at other things like regular businesses. So what is that? Like, I've got this great idea. I make cookies that taste like this, and they fill you up for a day, and they don't have any calories, and they're 100% natural. Or I invented a biblical thing that I could sell to the church. Just random stuff. I've got this new idea for the next Facebook. I talk to people that have great ideas. A lot of these things cost a lot of money to get going. They take a lot of time. And I'm not even opposed to this because for some people, it's a great, passionate thing. They want to do. They're excited. It's almost like they don't even care if it makes any money. It's like a hobby. But remember, our goal for a lot of times is being in something we really like and something we can make money, combining passion and profit.
Right.
So for a lot of those businesses, a lot of them unfortunately fail, or they never get off the ground, or they take forever, and they're just a struggle.
They have a lot of research and development costs, or all kinds of logistics, and you have to manage, maybe a dozen people at minimum. Obviously, this kind of contrasted to coaching where you are the product and there's no research and development fee, and you're ready to go right away, or virtually right away once you get some training and certification and things like that. There's not this long lead time to get to market. You don't have to go deep into the red to put the whole business together. It's really kind of minimal startup costs because what you're really doing is trading in your life experience to share with other people and spare them the problems that you went through. All that research and development has been done in the course of your life. Your life experience really counts. It really does contrast with all these other options. Are there any other options that people can consider if they're looking to get out of their current job, just to craft a job for themselves?
I think that's basically it, like it's franchising, regular business, network marketing, internet marketing. Each one has little subsets. So like on internet marketing, I'll tell you right now, they're going to run after you and with a pitchfork because someone might hear this and say, Glenn, that's not true. You can start Amazon.com for $33.82. And let me tell you, all that, it's questionable talk. Like, I actually just did some stuff on Amazon. I probably spent $500, $600, $700, $800, maybe $1,000 to make $100, $150 a month. I mean, I could scale it. It's just such a big pain. It's so low impact. I mean, I don't mean to disparage $150 a month, but, like, it's been a big pain.
Right.
And really in my soul, I almost feel like there would have been more enjoyment to just go out and rake leaves, like as crazy as it sounds. Like, I'm not even being funny. Like, really annoying all the stuff I was doing, dealing with Amazon. So you can do little things like that. I can't really think of anything other than that. I mean, we're not going to bring up mail order. That's way back in the day, which people are still making money on mail order, but it's so out of vogue. These are all fall under, like, just kind of random businesses like we talked about. So there's a lot of challenges. So this is why I like coaching. I like coaching because for less than $5,000, you can get started. You're ready to go. You get your certification. You get a track. You define your niche. There's not a lot of heavy startup costs and equipment and things to figure out. You know what you're going to coach on. You need some refinement on that. You just get your certification, and you're ready to go. So there's really nothing else that I can think of that's really like that. Now, here's the other thing. I want to be clear. It's not $5,000 today. It's not $5,000 this minute. But I'm saying over a year, maybe $5,000. And I think that's fair. Because in network marketing, I'll tell you right now, that number is going to come in at minimum 10. They're going to tell you, oh, no, it's $199 ever, and it's not. I'm in network marketing, so I know that. I argue with people that I know that they know that it's not true what they're saying, and then they get mad because they're mad at themselves, and it doesn't make any sense, you know? So, like, this is something that you could break apart over a year. Maybe you invest $600, $700, $800 the first couple of months. You could move towards making some money. It's very, very flexible.
Got it.
You don't need 6 computers. Like, I know somebody who's building a photography business. How much do you think it costs to start a photography business? The right way where you can actually make 6 figures.
I would have no idea.
Just take a guess.
20 grand?
More than that.
Really?
The person I know has $40,000 of equipment. Now,
Wow.
You can run out with your cell phone and do stupid stuff and the camera that you got for $1.99. You can do everything the wrong way. Whenever I say these figures, I can just see people raising their hand. No, that's not. I know somebody got started for $3.83. If you have a $100 camera, you're going to take $100 camera pictures, and you're not going to get the $5,000 and $10,000 clients. The end of the story.
Gotcha.
You know, and this is like in a lot of businesses. So, like, you look around, right? You can get started in a franchise the wrong way. So my friend who opened up the gym, do you know how much money he had available to burn? You know what burn money is?
Yep.
Let's explain it to the audience. So for the audience, burn money is money that you could burn through to get it to making money. Is that fair, Glenn?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. He had $250,000 in burn money.
That's
just some burn money. That's not equipment. That's not
ridiculous.
TVs. That's not any of that kind of stuff. I really want people to think about it logically. So when I said that $5,000 figure, maybe you need, a couple of promotional things, if they upgrade your cell phone plan, or because you're going to get more calls, and maybe get a faster internet connection for an extra $20 a month, or whatever. I'm just trying to be honest about it. Again, there's a lot of advantages. You could do coaching from anywhere. You can do it over the phone. If you wanted to, you could do it in person, but I prefer over the phone. You could do it over the internet.
One of the things that is very important to the people that I talk to is that you can really get started part-time.
That was my next thing.
Yeah, if you can squeeze in like a half an hour to 45 minutes a day, you can definitely get certified and trained, and then you can start coaching on a part-time schedule. And I think one of the things that distinguishes our program from all the other programs out there is that we've got experience in both coaching and business, so we're very good at showing you how to safely transition from a full-time job, because I know there are a lot of mothers out there that are taking care of their kids and dads who got a lot on their shoulders. You don't want to just make a big jump and put everything on the line and say, better hope that I make it in 6 months, because if I don't, then we're going to be eating ramen noodles. You really want to know that you're going to be able to provide, and coaching is a really terrific thing that you can do that with, because you make the time to coach for a few hours. You wait until you've got some steady coaching relationships going. You see the steady income. You have a much better sense of how reliable that income is, because it's based on relationships. And most people who want to be coaches, they're pretty good at relationships, and they like talking to people, and people tend to tell them their whole life story anyway. there's security in those relationships, and you can tell when it's building, and it becomes very predictable about what percentage of them stay and what percentage of them go. And it's not unusual to see people make progressively more as they get better and better. So it can be a very safe profession to go into. There's minimal risk with the upfront money. Your life experience counts. You can definitely earn a great income. You can get started really quickly. You can work entirely on your own terms. When you develop your confidence and people start getting results, you start getting referrals. And when you hit a critical mass, and I don't make it sound easier than it is because it takes a little while to do that, but when you hit a critical mass, then you should start getting more referrals than you can handle, which makes it possible to set whatever terms you want. So if you only want to work 2 days a week at such and such an hours, you can do that. Or if you want to charge higher fees and work less, you can do that. If you want to charge lower fees and work with a whole lot of people, that's even easier to do. You can work all by phone. You can work in person if you want to. It's entirely up to you. It's a profession that you can really craft your life in just the way that you want to craft your life. So I think there are so many things about coaching that are just phenomenal. And perhaps, maybe the most important one is you can really make a difference in people's lives while you're making a living. When you learn how to be with people in a very special way that they pay you for, and in a way that nobody else in their life is being with them, so you're not necessarily going to respond reflexively the way that everybody else is responding to them. And when they see a smart person doing stupid things, they're just going to say, hey, why are you doing these stupid things? But we're going to teach you how to work with them in a way that really helps them to work through those stupid things so they don't do them anymore. When you're able and willing to do that, you can be one of the most important people in their lives, and you can really make a genuine difference. And you get all these stories inside of you. I used to think, well, maybe the coaching was about the money or setting my own terms or kind of being my own boss. But really, I think the best thing about coaching is all the stories you get inside of you, because when you talk to people in such an intimate way and they share the details of their lives, inevitably you find stories about how they solve problems that you don't hear in your day-to-day life otherwise. It makes you a stronger person. And before you know it, almost any situation you're encountering, it reminds you of one of your coaching clients who encountered that situation, and you've got these stories about how they solved it, and it's just like a positive snowball that keeps going forward. I can't say enough good things about it. I really can't.
And I got to stress the part-time nature and the ability to build up and start small and get going at a slow pace, and you're not just squeezed. Man, I got to make this thing work or we're not going to eat. And you can incrementally go. And it works and attaches to everything. It attaches to a regular job. It attaches to, if you even are doing another business, you could do coaching on the side. I mean, there's a lot of advantages. It's really like the hidden home business that nobody ever talks about.
Right, and in the long run, you can learn to productize your expertise by making DVDs and tapes and books and things like that and selling those and doing seminars and workshops. And you don't have to do that to be a very successful coach and earn a nice living, but if that's something you want to do to have an impact on a wider level, you definitely can do that. I like to think of that as phase 2 for most people, because it's frankly harder than going out and getting clients and getting a regular clientele to coach directly with. You should know that there is a pathway to move beyond having a full-time practice and being able to take the expertise that you develop doing all that coaching and turn it into both something that has a deeper impact on society because you can distribute it further and wider, and something that you can make money separate and apart from your time with. I just like people to think of that as phase 2, not phase 1. Does it make sense, David?
Absolutely. I totally agree. And that's kind of what I did, because I was doing the coaching first, and then the other stuff, the ebook wasn't exactly selling the best.
Right.
So I did like coaching first, got more people, and I want to reach more people. And for me, it's not about money, it's about reaching more people. I wasn't getting squeezed in a job is what I'm saying. So like some of the audience might be squeezed in a job, and they've really got to get into something that makes money, or they're going to be in trouble 20 years down the road, or 10 years, or 25 years down the road. That was not me, and I was very fortunate. With coaching, I mean, I really encourage them to think about all these concepts and to really look around and say, like, are there any other options? You know, I challenge people. This, I think, is one of the best, if not the best option for people who do not have any other good options. You know, I want to be clear. There are people that I know doing amazing things. There's people I know inventing stuff, and they've got a lot of money, and they're very skilled in getting financing and $1 million or $2 million. But for the people who don't have a plan, don't know what to do, are interested in coaching, want to do something, want to change your life, want to help other people and get paid to do it and be rewarded, this is the option. There's no question about it.
100% agreed. Couldn't agree more. Is there anything else that I should have asked you that I didn't, or anything that you want people to know about before we get off the line today?
The only thing I would say is that I encourage people to take action and get started right away, because the one thing I notice about people who are interested in coaching is they talk about it for a really long time and think about it. I just know, I was thinking, yeah, I've always wanted to be a coach. And
or they do all these pre-sample sessions with each other and they don't kind of put together their...
Yeah, and, I first I got the idea in 1993, helped 6 people do this, that, and the other thing, and, here it is, way into the 2000s. I got to work on it, got to talk to my brother-in-law, my ex-girlfriend, run it past my priest, mother, father, aunt, uncle, friend that's sort of a lawyer. This is not deadly. This is not the franchise that's $2 million. And the key to being successful, I believe, is taking massive and immediate action. And that's what, unfortunately, a lot of potential coaches don't do. And that's what they have to coach people on doing.
Yep.
So part of my coaching is beating someone over the head, so to speak, to get them going. So the person who's grossly overweight, I've got to motivate them. You've got to just do something today. You don't have to do a million things, but we just have to get going right now. With my mom and her medical and the bipolar disorder, I had to coach my dad. Dad, we've got to do something now, not a year from now, not 2 years from now. This is the crazy thing, Glenn. My dad knew my mom had bipolar disorder. He didn't tell me and the family. So she had been diagnosed 38 years prior. Okay, 38 years.
I'm not sure I knew this part of your story. That's amazing.
Yeah, 38 years. So when I told my dad, Dad, we got to do something, you know what he said?
What?
Well, David, let's just see what happens. And I said to him, I go, Dad, this is the way I look at it. Because remember how I was coach, football team. You have 38 losing seasons. 38 losing seasons. This is what I said to my dad. I'm literally yelling at Dad, 38 losing. You need another 5 years of losing? And my dad went to a school where he went to college. They actually had the longest losing streak in the history of football.
Oh, no.
And he understood that. I go, Dad, he didn't even play football. I go, Dad, does that make sense to you? He goes, well, no. I go, you've tried it this way for 38 years. Do you think you need to change? Yeah. Do you think you want to get started today? Yeah, we probably should. And that was a big turning point because he would have waited another 38 years if he could. That's why I encourage people, whatever you know, and however you want to change people's lives, whatever niche you want to be in, you know you're going to face resistance of, I want to put it off. So your potential client, they want to wait and delay. And you know you're good at what you do. You've already done it because you're listening. You're like, Dave, I do that. I get people going. But you got to get yourself going, and that's why you got to get started today. You got to get started right away because you're just going to be older. I know people. And I know how they kind of slow down and have to think about it 82,000 times and check it out in Excel 4 million times and run permutations and think about it and talk to 82 different people in their circle, all of which probably don't have a lot of goals, so don't even bother talking to those people because you need to talk to people who are doing things. Go find people doing things, whatever they're doing, the people who own businesses in your area, and talk to them about your ideas. And they're going to say, get started. They're not going to tell you, wait another 5 years or 3 years or 1 year. I can't stress this enough. You've got to take action today. Otherwise, you're going to look back in a year from now, you're going to be a year older. Just think, you right now listening, you have had this idea probably for quite some time, and you still haven't taken action. So take action.
Let me tell you how I can make it easier for people to do that, David. Would that be okay?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
In just 12 weeks, you can become a certified professional coach, confident in your ability, and fully equipped to grow a thriving practice from anywhere or your money back. My name is Dr. Glenn Livingston, and I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes about taking your coaching dreams a lot more seriously, about getting the right certification and training, and about developing the confidence to deliver stellar results time after time so your clients will accomplish their goals, others will notice, and get referred back to you. I'll hope you forgive my modesty while we talk, because my wife and I have more combined experience in both coaching and business development than virtually any other program on the market. I've personally worked with over 1,000 clients and supervised dozens of coaches and therapists. Sharon's done literally thousands of groups and team-building workshops. And together we've sold more than $20 million in consulting. We've had our previous work, research, and theories covered in major media like the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, the Chicago Sun-Times, ABC and CBS Radio, the Wall Street Journal, New York Daily News, and many more. So we have the confidence in our ability to train and certify you as a coach and give you the know-how to build the practice of your dreams. In fact, we're so confident, we're willing to guarantee it right through the end of the very last class. If you don't feel our training was your best choice for any reason, Just show us you attended at least 3/4 of the classes and did at least 75% of the assignments. We will refund every penny that you paid. When you compare our experience, guarantee, and more affordable than most pricing, we think your choice will be clear. But if you're like most coaches, you're probably a little skeptical, maybe a lot. You see a lot of limitations and obstacles, and I'd like to talk about them with you because most of them are self-imposed. For example, you might think it's not really possible to earn a living as a professional coach. Maybe you think there's too much competition. But did you know that as of this recording, there were only about 20,000 active coaches in North America? That's less than one coach for every 15,000 people. Of course, not every one of those 15,000 people is in the market for a coach, but coaching has become ever more acceptable and interesting thanks to reality shows like The Biggest Loser, The Voice, dancing shows, singing shows, et cetera, et cetera. Every one of the contestants gets a coach, and the audience gets to see the value firsthand as they progress. More importantly, most coaches ignore the immense value of niching. There's literally hundreds of coaching niches to choose from, and when you do niche, you dramatically lower your competition and raise your odds of success. For example, where there may be 20,000 active coaches overall in North America, how many adoption coaches do you think there are? What about coaches who specialize in chocolate addiction? By the way, I could use one of those. Family business, academic achievement, and you don't have to marry any of these niches either. You just try one on to size, learn the skills, and transfer them to whatever suits your fancy later on. But here's another self-imposed limitation. Many people think it's simply not possible to earn a living as a coach.
Well, you can visit becomearealcoach.com
To see detailed studies which suggest the average active coach earns about $55,000 per year. Of course, there are coaches who make a lot more and coaches who make a lot less. And it would be unreasonable to assume just getting certified will automatically give you this income. Your income as a coach will depend upon many things, including the niche you choose. For example, working with affluent couples to help them adopt is likely to be more lucrative than helping disabled veterans adjust to life at home. Not any more meaningful, fulfilling, or soulful, but definitely more profitable. The environment you work in will also influence your income. Private practice versus a salaried employee, etc. The number of hours you choose to fill. Nobody says you have to work full time. The fees that you're comfortable charging. There's a lot of coaches out there that don't want to charge as much as they really could charge. The business model that you choose, in other words, individual coaching versus selling books, tapes, seminars, groups, and events for more leveraged and passive income. The seriousness of the problem that you specialize in. How desperate are your clients to solve it? How meaningful and valuable is the solution? For example, it's easier to earn more as an adoption coach than a yoga coach for this very reason. And your income also depends upon how much effort you put into attracting clients. But most importantly, in our experience, your income is related to your coaching confidence and ability to produce stellar results for your clients. Or maybe the obstacle stopping you from taking your coaching dreams to the next level is wondering whether you need a professional background in therapy or counseling. But you don't, because coaching isn't therapy. So you won't get involved in diagnosing, treating, or curing any type of mental illness. And we'll teach you how to clearly draw the line and skillfully refer clients who require a licensed professional. When in doubt, refer it out is our motto. Coincidentally, many of these professionals who you refer to can become a good resource of referrals back into your network. Maybe you're not sure if you're worthy of coaching. Maybe you think you don't have enough experience, or you're just not credible enough to coach people professionally, or that you don't have the expertise. When people tell me this, I tell them that they're asking the wrong question. You see, if you're willing to put your heart and soul into helping someone, if you're willing to give them your undivided attention on a regular or semi-regular basis until they reach their goal, if you're willing to make them a priority in your life in exchange for a reasonable payment, then the real question is, you should be asking, are these clients worthy of me? Because you see, you've only got a limited amount of time, energy, and love to give these people, so you've got to protect your practice. The real question is, are they worthy of you? Maybe you don't think you have the time to become a certified professional coach, but if you can make 4 or 5 hours a week, which is under an hour a day, for just a few months, you can definitely become a certified professional coach in our program. And there are many, many ways to start a coaching practice on a part-time schedule. We know most coaches have very busy lives even before they begin. And because we actually like coaches who are out there living real lives, we work hard to accommodate them. Coaching is more about experience and the desire to share and spare than it is about book knowledge. Maybe you think you can't afford it. But our program is much more affordable than most other live interactive certification programs, and we've got financing options to suit any budget. Besides, coaching is one of the least expensive businesses to start because you can work with people all over the world via telephone, Skype, and the internet. So there's really no need for office space, rent, or other overhead. And we'll show you how to make a safe transition plan so you can carefully plan your move from another job with a great deal of confidence when the time is right. Because you are the product, this is another reason why coaching is easier to get into and less expensive, because you are the product. Many of the traditional costs associated with starting a business, like inventory or research and development, production cost, they just simply disappear. So, at the risk of appearing self-serving, a better question than, can you really afford to do this, is, can you really afford not to do it? Finally, perhaps you think you're going to be a great coach, but you're too allergic to marketing to do anything about it. And if you feel this way, it's likely because you've been taught the wrong things about marketing. You're probably thinking of used car salesmen, cold calling, constant rejection, and constant lies. And nobody's taken the time to find out what marketing methods really suit your personality. Remember, Sharon and I have more combined experience in both coaching and business development than virtually any other certification program on the market. That means we've got the flexibility to help virtually any coach who wants it bad enough. You can check out our website at becomearealcoach.com for more details about our personal biographies. But for now, just trust me when I say if you don't like public speaking, there's no problem. If you hate making cold calls, there's no problem. If you can't even stand the idea of making a website, there's no problem because we'll show you how to market in a way that's comfortable for you. Now, by this point, you may actually be wondering what happens in the certification program itself. Again, you can visit becomearealcoach.com to read the details, but in a nutshell, our program is largely about the experience of being a coach and not the academic. Each week, you'll meet live with your instructor and your peers and have the experience of practicing that week's coaching or business development lesson with everybody in the group. You'll get detailed feedback from your master coach instructor, and you'll get additional feedback from your peers. And here's an important benefit most people don't think of. You'll get a chance to observe and learn from the other coaches in training. Then, after each event, you'll download a brief set of materials which prepare you for the following week and include an action challenge. So in short, first you practice with your peers, then you watch, read, or listen to us describe what you just experienced, and finally you do it on your own outside of class so you can integrate the learning. Practice, study, then do. It's really that simple in less than an hour a day. There's quite a bit more to know.
So you'll want to visit becomearealcoach.com as soon as you can.
But the most important thing to remember is that in just 12 weeks, you really can become a certified professional coach, confident in your ability, and fully equipped to grow a thriving practice from anywhere or your money back. Head on over to becomearealcoach.com now. Classes fill quickly, so please book your slot today if you're at all interested. Thanks.